You know, Red, I tried smashing my own apple cider the other day.
Yeah?
Yeah. Turns out all my apples were perverted, though.
How do you know they were perverted?
Well, I ended up with hard cider.
Welcome back to Worth the Dram. I'm Red.
And I'm Grim. This is your home for whiskey reviews, flexible opinions, and the kind of stupid humor you'd expect from a couple 30-somethings doing their best.
I am doing my best.
It's not easy. I mean, we try to think of stuff every time.
It's not easy being green. That's not even the first thing that came to mind, was it?
I don't know why I'm laughing.
What are we doing?
Today we're taking a look at Leopold Bros. New York apple-flavored whiskey. So if anybody remembers from our previous flavored episode, I'm not a terribly big fan of flavored whiskeys.
Yeah.
However, this is a donated bottle from a friend of the show, Kevin. First and foremost, thank you very much.
Definitely.
But he's not a fan of flavored whiskeys either.
Yeah.
But he highly recommends this one.
Yeah.
Like he swears by it. Like he couldn't tell me enough about how much he liked it, and that kind of tilted my scales a little bit. Like, I'm willing to try it. I mean, it's a whiskey. It's on the list.
I'll try anything once. After dark.
Do I have to say it?
I'll say it. No, I agree with you, Kevin. Definitely, thank you. I respect your whiskey opinions. So I am definitely looking forward to this. And I do tend to be on the fruity side. So
he said it. So a little bit of backstory.
Yeah.
Leopold Brothers Distillery, as it stands, started in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
And they have a very rich history of eco-friendly practices.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, they started in, I think 1999.
I think it was
with
99.
their brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Michigan.
In Michigan, yeah. So they've since located. I think it was 2014 where they moved to Denver.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? For their distillery.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have a long history with their own brewery and eco-friendly practices and commendable wastewater management practices.
You know, going back to their brewery and then bringing those practices into the distillery in Colorado now, like, zero wastewater, composting, local sourcing. I think the farthest away that they source just their base whiskey materials, as well as, things, because they have New York apple, they also have blackberry, Georgia peach, different flavored whiskeys. The farthest away they source those is 25 miles from their distillery. This is the episode number 2 for the night.
It's true.
And it was 100 proof the night.
It was 100 proof.
Before.
Yep. Last week. 20 minutes ago last week.
20, yes. God, time travel's weird.
I think, so by nature, this is more time dilation.
Yeah?
Yeah, if we really want to get into, like, the metaphysics here.
Let's get into the metaphysics.
Let's get metaphysical?
Let's get metaphysical.
All right.
I like it.
So eco-friendly practices.
Eco-friendly practices, composting, water recycling, zero waste, all local. Definitely pretty cool operation they have going on. I'm just gonna...
All right, so that'd be a weird place for me to just laugh at him saying a single syllable. My wife just held up a mini whiteboard that said, "Stop saying and that was his response. All right, so let's get into it. Where's
I'm very good. So I'm gonna grab the whiskey bottle.
All right, so it is a flavored whiskey. We introduced this bottle before. Tell you what, by nature, all right, so friend of the show, our esteemed benefactor,
yes, Kevin,
highly recommends his whiskey, and he doesn't like flavored whiskeys, so why don't we mix up the format a little bit? Let's taste it first, and then we'll decide where it goes.
Decide what one to go into.
Yeah.
Okay. So the base whiskey for the flavor here is a sour mash. I don't know that we've had a sour mash on the channel before.
We haven't. I don't even think we've mentioned it.
No. So sour mash is where you take some of the previous distillate that you have and you use it to start the fermentation for your next batch of whiskey.
Ooh, that guy was in there.
After dark, that's what she said.
Giggity.
So sour mash is where you use some of that previous distillate in your new batch of whiskey to start that fermentation. Very similar to starting a sourdough. If you ever started a sourdough starter,
Well, that makes sense.
Same sort of same sort of process going on there. So the base whiskey is I couldn't find the exact mash bill, but we know it's corn and then we know it's rye, and they actually use pre-prohibition whiskey. I can smell the apple. Already.
Can you?
Pre-prohibition processes for making whiskey.
Oh my god!
And it's cold filtered, cold filtered, which should make the whiskey a little softer.
Okay. Now, is it cold or is it like a legitimate chill filtration?
No, so I shouldn't say filtered. It's cold fermented.
Okay. We will get in a later episode. We will get into what defines chill filtration and why some whiskey enthusiasts kind of balk at it.
Yeah. So then they use ripe picked apples, different variety of apples, depending on what is best at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Juice the apples, mash the apples all up, mix it with their whiskey, and then I think it's aged in new charred oak barrels for a little bit. And the apple actually oxidizes with the oak barrels and produces some of that complex flavors that I think that's what Kevin picks out when he... I haven't tried it yet, but that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, well, we're hypothesizing here.
Yeah.
Where we don't really
good.
have to at this point.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, though. Like, from first impression, like, right off the bat, it barely smelled like a whiskey.
Oh, yeah. No, that smells like hard cider. Almost apple brandy.
Yeah. There's something else that I can't quite put my finger on. It'll come to me eventually.
It's unique. So it's very unique. And that's what's almost more like apple jam or
it's an
apple.
orchard.
Yeah.
It's, if you've ever gone apple picking like a week after you should have.
Yeah, and
it's got that
overripe apple.
That overripe, that like the dropped, the ones that you don't pick. That definitely adds that sweet smell to the air of an orchard. Yeah. That's what it is. That's that scent that I was trying to pick out.
Not a lot of traditional, and granted, it's a flavored whiskey, so you may not always look for those traditional whiskey. The oak.
So reading up on Leopold Brothers and their process, like, I know they labeled it as an apple flavored whiskey. I almost kind of don't. It doesn't really fall into the flavored variety because they ferment the apples with the whiskey.
Yeah.
So all of the flavors are instilled naturally.
Yeah, no added coloring, no added flavors. It's just what comes out naturally. And that is a dark. That's almost like cloudy apple cider.
Yeah.
So this is like you mixed a little cloudy apple cider with your whiskey.
Yep. I'm just gonna get into it.
I think so because I'm having a lot of trouble getting beyond like the type of apple.
Yeah, and so I mean the scent on the nose really isn't that complicated, and there's really not much that we can do to describe it.
Yeah, appley, almost apple brandy, apple wine.
Yeah,
there's no such thing as apple wine that I know of, but sparkling wine, Mrs. Grimm. That's it. Welch's sparkling.
Okay, yeah.
You get it in the
cider.
glass bottles, and when I was a kid, I used to put it in there thinking it was, like champagne, and I would drink that. And that was my favorite part of Thanksgiving.
I'm an adult.
I'm an adult. Threw it on the ground. I won't throw this on the ground.
Ready?
I'm ready. Oh.
Wow.
So it's a little bit thicker.
A little bit, but I don't want it. It's thicker.
Yeah.
But I think it just has stronger presence.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, it's not syrupy like the Screwball.
No, but it's thicker than. So we just had 100 proof
Yeah.
whiskey 20 minutes last week ago.
Yeah. Viscous, I think, is the word.
Viscous, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good word. Like 5W30.
Wow. And you know what? Like, first impression, I want to say it's really, really sweet, but it's not. It's actually, it's tart.
Yeah, I think that's the right. Man, that's
Like an apple strudel.
almost like apple, like an apple custard. You know, it's not a ton of sweetness. It's more of that creamy appleness
Yeah.
coming through.
Obviously, not being a fan of really, really sweet whiskeys.
Yeah.
Certainly not a fan of heavily flavored whiskeys. This is surprising.
Yeah.
Like I see why Kevin likes this.
The closest thing I can come to is apple moonshine.
Yes.
But it's a little bit more complex than that.
I would say so. The apple moonshine actually tastes a lot more artificial than this does.
Yeah. No, this does. And I think that's, as you pointed out, they ferment the whiskey and the apples together.
This doesn't so I should backpedal a little bit because this doesn't taste artificial whatsoever.
Right.
But the apple and cherry
Man,
flavored
this is-
moonshines.
This is fall in a glass. This is apple season. Leaves are changing colors. You got apple pie baking in the oven. This is vanilla ice cream mixed with the inside of apple pies.
So if you're getting vanilla, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because that apple flavor.
No, there's just that creaminess.
Okay,
That custardy creaminess.
That's a good word, is
Yeah.
the creaminess, because I think that's what that thickness, that viscosity is coming from. Like, that's the right word for it, is creamy.
Man, that's really good. So I think we should note, as far as we know,
Fireworks.
Yeah. Anyway, so as far as we know, Colorado and maybe some limited places outside of Colorado is where you can get this. Friend of the show, Kevin, actually had somebody from Colorado get it and bring it to
Pick
him.
it up, bring it to him in Vegas, and then he brought it to us.
Yeah.
Has been on a journey.
So, definitely, again, thank you very much, Kevin.
I didn't know whether I was going to curse you or praise you when you handed this to me, but I'm absolutely leaning towards praise.
Yeah.
That is surprisingly good. For me. It'd be just because of how I stand with flavored whiskeys.
Well, and I was expecting, you hear apple flavored whiskey, and my immediate assumption is that artificial apple juice taste with the whiskey bite.
Yeah.
And this is
like
not
Apple
that.
Jack's whiskey.
Right, yeah. Jack Daniel's apple.
Don't even. Oh, that's not a good one. I feel like this is like a nice smooth whiskey with just condensed apple cider.
Yeah.
Like, just not condensed isn't the right word, but finely tuned apple cider, because it is a very upfront tart flavor, and it's bright and refreshing.
Yeah.
That's the first time that I've used the term bright to describe a whiskey on this channel.
And as hot as it is back here, it is definitely very refreshing.
Yeah.
I should say I am a fan of hard apple cider. Woodchuck, Strongbow, Angry Orchard.
Yep.
This is that,
the only time I've ever actually enjoyed Fireball is pouring a shot into a hard apple cider.
Yeah.
And that
like a cinnamon.
Yeah.
That would be good.
This right here, without the cinnamon flavor, fits the bill for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'd go to this every time. We do have our work cut out for us, because it does say on the back of the bottle, best to be enjoyed within 30 minutes once the bottle is opened.
Oh, wow. So
30 days. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh.
All right, so we have some time.
If it was 30 minutes,
Let's get to work.
we got to do what we got to do. This will be a very interesting episode.
How do you like them apples? Well, that was a weird cut. And once again, I've caught Red on his phone. You don't have to drop it.
What?
Everyone owns phones. It's fine at this point.
Everybody has on phone?
Yeah. All right, so weird cut. Again, we didn't give this quite as much time because it is really, really hot back here.
And also, I don't think it needs that much time.
I don't think so. I'm not expecting this to really unfold as it rests, so to speak.
I like the way you did that arm movement there.
I actually regret doing that. That felt kind of weird.
It was almost like a ballerina ice dancer.
So you're really only solidifying why I regret making that motion.
Man, that's just...
It smells a little bit sweeter after sitting, but it's about the same.
It's negligible. I almost get more of the...
Same scent, same intensity.
Yeah. And maybe it's after I've been drinking a glass. Almost more of that apple custardiness. So that being said, drink?
Let's do it. It's been a while since we clinked.
It's been a while since we
Clink it and sink it.
We used to say that in golf. We would clink putters. And then...
That's dumb.
I'm not denying that.
Wow. All right, so if anything, it's a hell of a lot smoother after sitting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
I mean, granted, we only let it sit for 10 minutes.
But, I mean, like all that tartness that we got on the first glass, it's apple cider with whiskey.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's not condensed, but just like highly specialized apple cider because that is a very intense flavor.
Yeah.
But it's still not, I still don't feel like it's overly sweet. Actually, second glass I feel like is approaching that sweetness that I'm not really a fan of.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely drink this again, but I would certainly do it without resting.
Yeah.
So I'd finish it within 30 minutes.
The whole bottle. Those of you who sub to the channel, thank you. But you guys know my love for Manhattans.
Mm-hmm.
I think this in a Manhattan, like an apple Manhattan,
That would be really nice. Very, very nice. Red, I think we have to make a decision here.
So, my thoughts. For me, as good as it is, and as high quality as it is, I still feel like it's a flavored whiskey, and so it should go in the flavored bottle.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah, for you. I mean, so I feel weird saying this, but I actually think it deserves a pour in the big bottle.
The whiskey bottle.
I do. And I think it's just because, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's 1/20th of the first infinity bottle. So let's say as that goes down and fills back up, that ratio is going to get lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
But I feel like, so that tartness up front, I feel like would actually complement. I do, yeah.
I could see that. And I could see that the little bit of sweetness that's there, the tartness that's there, might be good in something that's probably going to be fairly oaky and have a lot of those kind of heavier flavors.
Keep in mind, we've got a mesquite in there as well.
We do have a mesquite in there. Apple mesquite?
You've only strengthened my feelings for that.
Yeah?
Which, if anybody who's followed knows, I don't like flavored whiskeys. So, I mean, it's saying something that I would like to have.
I mean, smell that.
Right.
Would you put apple in there?
I would.
Yeah?
I really would.
All right. I just had a thought.
What's that?
Brain blast. In my brain, the behind the scenes crew had the same thought I did at the exact same time.
You know what that's called? That's called spontaneous ingenuity.
Is it really?
Yeah, so if one thing is invented in, so let's say America, and at the exact same time, the exact same thing or similar is invented in Europe, it's like the naming of aluminum.
I believe it's pronounced aluminium.
That's exactly what we're getting at. So maybe, all right, that might be a bad example, but the naming of Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus happened in two different areas at close to the same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, technically, on the books, the proper term is Apatosaurus, but Brontosaurus was it's the same dinosaur.
Yeah.
But that's spontaneous ingenuity.
Nice.
So derailed your train of thought here.
No, it put me on a new train of thought.
Yeah, that's the definite. That's derailed.
No, put me on a new train of thought. What is it that man values most? If
Is it whiskey?
a brilliant musician
Oh my god!
creates
Stormlight. So I've cut all of our mentions of Stormlight Archive, but I think I'm going to leave this one in.
Yeah?
If you haven't read the Stormlight Archive, we both
Read
highly
it.
recommend it. Like it's a great ongoing modern epic fantasy.
10
right
books. Book number 4 is coming out in November.
Now. Yep.
But by the way, the answer to that, what does man value most? It's whoever comes first.
Whoever comes first. It's
That's
not
what-
necessarily
After dark.
So, did you smell the glass and the bottle at the same time?
I did not.
Do that, please.
So what did you think, though? One in each? We went on a tangent on spontaneous ingenuity.
You didn't actually say that out loud, but actually, that's not a bad idea. It's our whiskey.
God, that would...
It's our whiskey, and we can do with it as we
That
will.
doesn't... I got one in each nostril.
All right, so this one still smells terrible, and I feel like this will just improve the quality. So yes, I'm a fan of one
All
of
right,
each.
one in each.
One in each.
I almost want to take a sip of that after. We'll wait a week.
We'll wait. Did you take a snifferizer there when you added that?
I didn't.
Because I think
You
it
want me
deserves
to?
that. Yeah. This smells marginally better.
I want to taste that now.
That did exactly what I was hoping it would for the Infinity. Oh. So, obviously, I think if I could turn you around on what bottle it belonged in, it's good. If Captain hating flavored whiskeys, that's a terrible name, but me could turn your opinion.
Into putting it in our Infinity whiskey? Yes.
Yeah.
And I do feel directly from the bottle, it's whiskey first, then apple.
Yes.
After sitting, it comes a little bit more apple than whiskey.
Yep. It's like an apple strudel with a whiskey chaser.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a fan of apple, if you're a fan of sweet, 100%.
If you're a fan of hard cider, I think this would be definitely up your alley.
Yep.
I'm a fan of hard cider, and I might plan a trip
You do
to
like it hard.
Colorado. I do. After dark. I might plan a trip to Colorado to pick up this. But also, they have a blackberry. They have a peach. But I haven't seen it in any other state besides Colorado.
All right, so, I mean, to cap this off,
Delicious.
thank you.
Very welcome. It was a good arm movement.
Just stalling for about 10 seconds so everybody has a chance to read that.
That's good.
That's Dram good.
It's damn good. I think we should do a third episode. What's next?
Give us a plug.
If you haven't already, give us a like, give us a subscribe, comment down below, whatever you want. Give us a comment, things you want us to try, questions you might have for us.
We're still stocking up questions for a Q&A episode later on.
Definitely. So hit us up, and we'll answer those at some point in some hilarious fashion.
Hopefully. I mean,
I just set the bar.
it's hard coming up with these funny jokes
We are
all the time.
all the time.
We're never off. Anyway, no matter how you like your whiskey, that's the right way.